And good morning, Michelle, whenever you're ready to get started.
Will do. Good morning, everyone, and happy formal beginning of spring. Today we will have a roundtable discussion, but before we do that, I will pass it to our Executive Director, Matt Bogosian, for some updates. Matt, the floor is yours.
Great, Michelle Burris from the Century Foundation. Thank you, and thank all of you for being on. It is the beginning of spring, March 24th, 2025, and this is AMCC's National 30-Minute Call. Same time every Monday, 11:30 Eastern, 10:30 Central, 9:30 Mountain, 8:30 Pacific. And I'm Matt Bogosian, Executive Director of AMCC, the nation's manufacturing community of practice. And we do these 30-minute national calls every Monday, every week, week in and week out, so we can stay connected and build those relationships that are so crucial to making smarter products that solve problems. It's kind of like my rant of the week here, but we have this manufacturing cornerstone in this country, and it is vulnerable, and we've seen bad results time and again, like in the 08-09 Great Recession, the early 2020s with the pandemic. American resilience depends on our innovative manufacturing cornerstone. And we've got to rely on the best evidence of what that looks like. What's a strong cornerstone look like in the 21st century? And it's not this binary choice. It's not going to be half of our workforce in manufacturing, right? But there is always and should always be a good chunk in manufacturing, making good paying jobs. But it's the ripple effect. The bigger point is if we don't get this right, it's going to be a challenge to this country. We've got to have that connectivity between the manufacturing innovation and production design, production distribution, and that positive ripple effect throughout the economy is so essential. That's what all the best evidence says. So this binary choice, you sometimes hear between America having to choose to be either a manufacturing economy or a service economy. It's just like, from everything we've read over the years, is unnecessary and distracting. We need to do both in an American way, so the innovation loop is and remains robust. So, all right. After that, like Michelle said, this is a roundtable call. We have two flavors of calls. So if you're relatively new to these calls, they're very informal. Folks put your name and affiliation in the chat so you can connect with one another. Having relationships, building those relationships, strengthening those relationships is really crucial to what we're trying to do and what we are doing is we're strengthening from the bottom up our manufacturing cornerstone. So we have sometimes some folks, like we had the last couple of weeks, coming on to give a short presentation about something that's happening in their part of the manufacturing ecosystem that's important for other regions around the country to know. And then we also have roundtable calls where, like today, where we just have folks introduce themselves, talk about something cool that's happening in their ecosystem of support in their region or in their particular subject matter silo. And both are great. We have others on deck. David, what do we have on deck for Monday presentations? Just so it gives folks a flavor of what's happening here.
Yeah, thanks for that, Matt. Next Monday will be the National Association of Development Organizations. They're going to come on and talk a little bit about their work with economic development districts around the country. And then the following week, we'll have Bert Foyce from Community Capital Advisors talking about some of the best practices he's seen in getting some capital access to stakeholders in our network.
So keep bringing it on, folks. Tell us, hey, we'd like to have 10, 15 minutes talk about, cool things. And David and I will set up a call with you to talk about what that might look like and get you on the calendar. So as you've seen in the past, very informal, but very helpful. So, folks even that missed the call can take the content from those presentations and distribute it to their networks. But this is a roundtable call. So it's, you, me, all of us can chime in and ask a question, raise a best practice, share an event or whatever. These are essential. Having this kind of weekly feedback loop depends on you. So you do your part, jump in. If you haven't put your name and affiliation in chat, do that now. The chat is a great zone to share best practices, cool events that are happening. But we also want to hear from you. And if you're wondering, what am I gonna say? I'm in my little silo. I've got a boss. I've got a boss's boss. I'm just doing my science job or my workforce job or my admin job or my manufacturing job or service job, whatever. You know a lot. We need to bring your experience in with the rest of ours, integrated into a framework so we can all have more agency and strengthen the American project. So, the AMCC update has got a lot in there. Jim, jump in there. Tell us where you are in the ecosystem. Yeah.
Good morning, everyone. My name's Jim Laukner, and I work with the Chester County Economic Development Council in southeastern Pennsylvania. And one of the things I do for them is I manage a manufacturing alliance of about 450 participants in the manufacturing space. And the reason I wanted to jump in because we're trying to promote a free welding program at the local Delaware County Community College Consortium. They're midway in their first cohort of I think it's a 13-week program, and we're organizing a meet and greet. So we're hoping to have 10, 12 employers come down with us on Friday and meet the students there, encourage them to do well, and also get a preview on who they might want to hire come the May graduation, and then who they might want to enroll in that. There's another free cohort starting in July, enrollment to start soon. And what I found out is you can be an employer if you want to upskill one of your laborers, for example, and get them this welding certification. They can attend for free. It's all day Friday, all day Saturday. So I'm encouraging employers to pay them and give them up on their Friday if they're willing to give up 13 Saturdays. And then you have to give them a welding job upon completion. So I know there's other programs like that around the country. The other thing I wanted to mention is thanks to this group, this call, we are working with Uniquely Abled Academy. We are launching there and have my first quarterly call with them tomorrow. It's taking us a while, but for those not familiar with that program, they believe that people that are on the spectrum have some very unique skills, such as attention to detail, enjoying repetitive processes, and not likely to be changing jobs every 2 or 3 years. So we're going to get them the training in CNC machining and make them available to the marketplace. And then lastly, I will put my contact information in the chat shortly, but if any manufacturer is running into energy need problems, and that by that I mean not that your local utility can't generate the power, but they cannot distribute it to your site. We're seeing dozens of organizations in our geographical footprint that cannot get enough power to do business, whether it's a grow-in operation or move into a new facility. And these are in industrial sited locations. It's just the infrastructure isn't there to generate, or excuse me, to distribute that much more power. And with that, I'll cede the floor.
Jim,
Go ahead, Larry. Yeah.
Larry Rothman. I'm on the board of Uniquely Abled. Which school are you talking about that you're going to put the CNC into?
Our educator to start with is going to be the Delaware County Community College. We have them on board, and we have manufacturers interested in the program already. We just finished signing up all our paperwork, and I have my first quarterly call tomorrow.
Okay, just for your information, we're also working with the Philadelphia Community College and the Drexel Institute. They're starting a CNC program up as well at Philadelphia Community College. So if you
heard rumor of that, but I did not know it happened.
It's not rumor. You could contact me. I'll put my email in the chat. Okay.
Good. I have spoken to the people up in the area about their program.
Okay.
Awesome, Jim. No, yeah, that's great. Thank you, Larry, for chiming in there and making that connection in real time. That's how it works, right? Daniel Wehrman out in California. Welcome.
Hey, yeah. How's it going, everybody? Daniel Wehrman, founder of the CNC Career Network. I have a question actually for the group. We primarily work just to create workforce pathways for CNC. So connecting companies, educators, and nonprofits, and then getting those career seekers informed, trained, and hired through the network of people. And one of the things, and I want to see if anybody has any experience in trying to get companies to give to their local trade schools or sometimes junior colleges, although that can be harder. I think local trade schools, nonprofit trade schools is key, and give stipend money to pay for the training, and then leverage that money that comes in to then do grant matching for your local state grants or federal grants. And I was wondering, does anybody have any experience in that? Has it been easy or hard? Any success or failure trying to get companies to give monies, donate to the local nonprofit, and then use that money to then pay for stipend training and then leverage into grants? Would love
So
anybody.
Michael Bell just raised his hand. I'm not sure if it's connected to your question, Daniel, but go ahead, Michael.
Sure.
Yeah, definitely. We should connect offline, Daniel. I'm with SVNA, Sac Valley Manufacturing Alliance, and we've started, this is our second year, a manufacturing design challenge. Our focus is actually at the high school level. So we recognize the high schools have a lot of robust manufacturing related programs that a lot of companies don't know about. So we're starting there, and we're presenting I think 7 awards for high schools. So individual project, they design and make their own tic-tac-toe board set, the pieces in the board, using a CNC removing process, laser cutting, lathe, but it has to be a material removal process, and it could include electronics and 3D printing as well. Last year was the first year, 23 students from 13 different schools participated. This year, we're looking at tripling that, probably going to be 60, 70 students from 15 different schools throughout the region. And it's been the easiest fundraising exercise I've ever been a part of, to ask companies to donate for the scholarship awards, and then also cover the cost of the initiative itself. So I think starting from the high school level and then using that as a pipeline for apprenticeship, because we have an apprenticeship standard as well, around CNC machinist and quality technician. I think that's, so far, it seems to be a winning strategy.
Awesome. Thank you
Hey,
so much.
Daniel, in the chat, I don't know if you saw Crystal Davis has the Aerospace Joint Apprenticeship Committee from Washington State.
Awesome.
So that might be a good connect. Yeah.
Would love to connect. Thanks so much.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks,
So
you
I'll
all.
reach out to you, Daniel.
Thanks, Michael. Thanks for chiming in. Daniel, thanks for asking a question, right? This is a perfect model about, like, how do we do it? We want to elevate best practices, but we also want to, like, especially call out the challenges, right? Let's not reinvent the wheel. Let's take what we've got and build from that. So excellent. Other folks that are new, or it's been a while, you want to raise your hand and reintroduce yourselves. We have a lot of fodder, like just the AMCC update that just came out, right? We talk about the big 6 kind of elements of a thriving regional manufacturing ecosystem. One of those is capital access. And in the AMCC update just this week, our friends at Urban Manufacturing Alliance just came out with a report about what's happening with the federal intervention to help with capital access, SSBCI it's called, and the Urban Manufacturing Alliance report. David, you could drop that in the chat. I see Katie Stanton is on there from Urban Manufacturing Alliance. That's talking about that, like, that's super important. How do we make that program work better in states around the country? Rebecca Walker, I see you. Welcome. Where are you part of the ecosystem? Yeah.
Hi, good morning. Thanks for letting me say hello. I'm in Erie, Pennsylvania, actually. And Jim, I put my contact in the chat. I helped start the UAA program at Erie County Community College. It was the first one that was for college credit. And our graduates actually walked last June and had First Lady Joe Biden hand them their diploma, which was pretty cool. So, but I am now with an organization that's part of the MEP program. It's called the Student Run Manufacturing Enterprise, and they help students in high school run their entire manufacturing program. Business students, manufacturing students, design engineering. They start a company within their high school that has a manufacturing program in it and help them deliver product, to local manufacturers. They develop the relationships with the manufacturers. So they're building that. Some are going directly into work after, some are going to college for engineering, some are going for accounting, but they end up getting exposed to manufacturing and hopefully will be the next generation of business leaders in manufacturing.
That is awesome. Awesome. All right. Hey, this is you guys, man. Like, raise your hand, introduce yourselves, reintroduce yourselves, what's happening in your ecosystem, events, best practices, challenges. Look at the AMCC update. There's lots of fodder in there. You'll notice the federal funding opportunities have been reduced in bulk there. You can see that. That has a ripple effect. Begs the question. We talk about this with some between these calls around, what's happening in states. Is there a state reaction, to that in terms of more state interventions? I think we reported in the AMCC update, California just came out with its economic blueprint, which is got all kinds of industrial manufacturing elements in terms of strengthening the manufacturing ecosystem there. I'm wondering if in that state and other states, if there's going to be a trend to more state governments, saying, hey, we need to, intervene and strengthen our manufacturing ecosystem. Andrew Stetner, yes, the Century Foundation, and one of the ground floor guys of AMCC. That's right. Welcome.
Well, I think it's an important time. Good morning, everyone. Andrew Stetner at the Century Foundation. I'm our Director of Economy and Jobs here. Work with Michelle. And I think we're looking now to see what's going to happen with some of the funding opportunities, that were released earlier in the fiscal year from all the different federal agencies. Now that the budget, was signed by the president, kind of to see whether there's going to be funding to go through some of those pending funding opportunities. One resource on the DOL side that I found really useful is someone who recently left DOL has a website that's called Jobs That Work, and it's like a Substack, and it's got really kind of very granular updates almost every day on different DOL things, kind of cross industry, but apprenticeship, pre-apprenticeship. So I definitely suggest that as a good resource. I think we're going to know more in the next few weeks about what's going to happen with FY 25 funding. But there's money now to spend.
Awesome. Yeah, no, that's great to hear that, Andy. Appreciate that update. And I mean, this is a very tumultuous time to say the least. And every part of the ecosystem, public, private, nonprofit sector is looking at it. Kevin Ross, we haven't heard from you in a while from Accenture. So we have folks in the private sector that are looking at these trends, trying to strengthen the manufacturing cornerstone everywhere in North America, in the United States. Kevin, welcome. Tell folks where you are, what part of the ecosystem that you're trying to add value in.
Yeah. Hey, Matt, good to see you. Actually, Accenture is supporting all across the U.S. in a variety of different manufacturing companies and a variety of different industries. One of the main things that we try to do is, leverage the capabilities of kind of marrying the cyber and the physical world. So how can we digitize? How can we automate? How can we create the digital twins and digital threads that drive the most productivity possible? As we manufacture in the U.S., productivity and cost obviously are going to be a big part of that equation, and being able to compete in that space is critical. So helping companies across the country utilize these digitization capabilities is where we come in.
That's awesome. Thank you, Kevin. Thanks for chiming in there. Other folks, reintroduce yourselves. This is a good time. What's working, what's not working. What are you concerned about? Where can we do better? All right, I'm going to start calling on people. Just buckle up here. Let's see.
Matt,
Dean Bartles. Oh, go ahead, please.
I just want to make a suggestion. I'm part of another call with SME. One thing I'd recommend for this call, because we have such a big group, is maybe breakout sessions with more targeted topics. that we can all chime in and jump in on. I don't know, logistically, it's a little bit more on your end, but my experience has been very fruitful to get more conversations happening in parallel for future reference.
Yeah, no, thank you. And all suggestions are well received. So thank you for that. Yeah, Dean, welcome.
Good morning. At least it's still morning in Florida anyway. How's everybody doing?
Good,
Yes.
good.
So as I mentioned in my note there in the chat, I'm the CEO of the Manufacturing Technology Deployment Group. It's the parent company of the National Center for Defense Manufacturing Machining that run the America Makes program. Those of you that might not be familiar with America Makes, it's the first one of the Manufacturing USA Institutes that's focused on additive manufacturing, 3D printing. And always look forward to this Monday morning call and meeting people and looking for opportunities to collaborate.
Great. Thank you, Dean. Larry
Sure.
Peterson in Texas. We had a roadshow down there in Texas and lots of great, exciting manufacturing activities out there. Larry, tell folks where you are and what's the latest in Texas.
I'm in Austin, Texas. We cover the entire state with innovation ecosystem building. Our foundation was involved in bringing Army Futures Command. We've stood up Mass Challenge Texas and helping the statewide building out of plug and play and built a statewide cluster initiative, National Security Innovation Council. So we are in the third year of our DMCSP grant and focused on the semiconductor industry.
Great. Thank you, Larry. And always great to have you a part of this network and giving us advice along the way. Is it Angeline Johnson? Or Angeline, welcome.
Hello, I did not mean to raise my hand. Please forgive me.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. You're welcome. Daniel, go ahead.
Hey, just wanted to give a bit of an update. So originally built our network out in Southern California, and I just recently made the personal move to Idaho. So we're out here in Southern Idaho now. We're starting to build out here. So if there's anybody on the call that wants to connect and just collaborate and network and help out workforce development, then that's a little update from me and my part. So I thought I would.
Well, that's good. Stay connected to us because we're co-creating a AMCC roadshow in Washington, Idaho, and perhaps Oregon. So at least Washington and
Great.
Idaho. So
would love to help out here if you need any help.
Yeah. And if you want more information about what an AMCC roadshow entails, David can drop into the chat a little bit. These are like co-created events, like we just talked about with Larry, where coattailing on cool things that are already happening, or creating new events where we bring stakeholders. Right, it begins with relationships. The manufacturing ecosystem is not going to thrive unless we have the relationships across public, private, nonprofit sectors in regions that are using the same or similar evidence. And have a concerted strategy. So super important to not only have these weekly things, where we stay connected from week to week and get back to our silo, but also in-person events where we can really deepen those relationships, have a feedback loop that matters. We have this metrics tool playbook process that we've been co-creating with federal agencies and others that we're looking for feedback on, and this comes up in our AMCC roadshows where we're talking with region, more depth in more depth. Michael Bell, to your point, you got to get more deep where you can, and on these AMCC roadshows, we have the capability to do that and really dig into what does a regional manufacturing ecosystem look like? What are the component parts? How can we craft? Well, first, identify gaps in our manufacturing ecosystem and then craft smarter interventions. And not just from one part of the ecosystem, but from multiple parts of the ecosystem within a region, right? So it's complex system science, but we are getting our arms around it. I mean, all of us working together are getting our arms around it so we can craft those interventions and keep that innovative cornerstone of manufacturing rolling. So very cool. And that's the other thing, Daniel, that we've noticed, folks move from one thing to another in their careers, right? It's a very common tale. And that's something we talked about with the National Governors Association. And CREC did this policy academy work, right? So our state governments, everything? No, but they're an important part of the manufacturing ecosystem, right? And they're more and more seem to be leaning in. But the people within the state government, they move on from one job to the next, right? And then it's like, the value that they built over their experience in building those relationships then disappears, right? So we don't have we don't have the muscles to keep people trained up in this kind of collective impact approach to making smarter interventions based on the best evidence. And so it's a common tale. And so appreciate you sticking in the network, so we don't lose the value of your experience, Daniel. And this goes for everyone. I mean, my goodness. Well, Andy Stetner, who spoke earlier today, he's gone from one thing to the next and then back. And it's a common tale, not for everyone, but a common tale for so many. And it's important that we have muscles to stay connected and continue to add value with one another.
I'll just share right back with that, Matt. I mean, I was working for Goodwill Southern California, a big nonprofit out there and everything else. And it was through meeting you guys. And then now I'm starting my own company. But it was through this network that also gave me the leverage to be able to do it because of the brain trust. So I'm like, oh, I'm not alone. I got all of you. So
yeah, that's right.
I'm able to do it. So just thank you for having the group and thanks for everybody here.
Yeah. No, thank you for calling that out, and to everyone for participating every week. It's a small 30-minute window that adds a lot of value to what we're trying to do individually and collectively. So yeah, any other final anything else? As Sarah Lee, who was the voice of our Monday morning calls for years, would say, anything else that we want to raise right now for the good of the order? I know there's some stuff happening in chat. I see that. That's excellent. So check out those chats. Let's see, anything else for the good of the order? Otherwise, we will be back on next Monday, and hope you all have a great week. All right. Thank you.